The air in the kitchen hung thick and heavy, a blend of sizzling onions and mounting tension. Bruce, his brow slicked with sweat, navigated the chaos with practiced ease. Orders flew at him from all directions. Waitresses barked out requests for one order of fries, extra crispy, and where's the chicken parmesan? Bruce met each demand with a calm efficiency born from years of experience. He loved food. He loved the way it brought people together. He loved the alchemy of transforming simple ingredients into something delicious. But lately, the joy had dimmed. His work at the restaurant, once a source of pride, now felt like a weight on his chest. He felt trapped. Every night, after the last dish was washed and the kitchen was finally quiet, Bruce would retreat to his small apartment, a modest space that he called home. Exhausted from the day's work, he'd collapse onto his worn sofa, the springs creaking under his weight, and lose himself in his well-thumbed copy of On the Road. He'd trace his fingers over the pages, his heart aching with longing for a life he had never known. He yearned for the simplicity of a nomadic life, for the freedom to explore new places and meet new people, to live without the constraints of a routine. He imagined himself driving across the country, his trusty old dog Sparky by his side, the wind in his hair and the open road ahead. He pictured himself setting up shop in small towns, sharing his culinary creations with anyone who was hungry, bringing joy through his food. He'd serve classic comfort food, juicy burgers, crispy fries, the kind of meals that brought people together. And of course, his grandma's famous apple pie, a recipe passed down through generations. Simple, honest food made with love, the kind that warmed the soul. But there was a problem. A mountain of debt that loomed over him, a constant reminder of his financial struggles, making the dream seem out of reach. The dream seemed impossible, a distant fantasy that he could only visit in his mind. Still, every night, Bruce would close his eyes and let himself imagine a different life, a life on the road, filled with freedom and the joy of sharing his food with the world. The bank was imposing, all marble and glass. Bruce felt a familiar wave of anxiety wash over him. He straightened his tie, which felt like it was choking him, and smoothed down his best and only button-down shirt. He reminded himself why he was here. This wasn't just about money. It was about taking a chance on himself, on his dream. He walked into the bank, his heart pounding like a drum solo. He sat down with a loan officer, a kind-faced woman named Miss Johnson. He explained his plan, his voice trembling slightly at first. He spoke of his passion for food, his desire for a simpler life, his hope of bringing a little joy to people through his cooking. Miss Johnson listened patiently, her brow furrowed slightly. When Bruce finished, there was a long silence. He held his breath, his knuckles white as he gripped the arms of the chair. Finally, she smiled. "Mr. Bruce," she said, "I believe in you. I think this is a risk worth taking." The used car lot was a symphony of clanging metal and the smell of exhaust fumes, a chaotic orchestra that played the tune of dreams and possibilities. Bruce, clutching his newly approved loan documents, wandered through rows of cars, his eyes searching for the perfect vehicle. Each step he took was filled with anticipation, his heart racing with the excitement of a new beginning. He wasn't looking for anything fancy, just something reliable, something that could carry him and his dreams. A vehicle that would be more than just a mode of transport, but a companion on his journey. He spotted it tucked away in a corner, a faded red Mini Cooper, its paint chipped, but its spirit still strong. It seemed to call out to him, promising reliability and a touch of adventure. Next to it sat a small, equally well-loved food trailer. It had seen better days, but there was a charm to its worn exterior, a story waiting to be told. It wasn't much to look at, but Bruce could see its potential. He imagined transforming it into a mobile kitchen, a place where he could share his culinary creations with the world. He could already envision the aroma of sizzling burgers drawing in hungry customers. The thought of people lining up, eager to taste his food, filled him with a sense of purpose. The owner of the lot, a man with a handshake that could crush stone, gave Bruce a surprisingly good deal. It was as if he understood the importance of this moment for Bruce. Maybe it was the desperation in Bruce's eyes, Or maybe the man saw a kindred spirit, someone yearning for the open road. Whatever it was, there was a connection, a shared understanding. Whatever the reason, Bruce was now the proud owner of a car and a food trailer, ready to embark on his culinary adventure. With a heart full of hope and a mind brimming with ideas, he was set to turn his dreams into reality. Leaving the city felt like shedding a heavy coat. With every mile that passed, Bruce felt the tension ease from his shoulders. Sparky, his tail wagging furiously, hung his head out the window, his tongue flapping in the wind. Bruce laughed, a sound he hadn't realized he'd forgotten how to make. He wasn't used to driving with a trailer in tow. Turning corners was an adventure, reversing a Herculean feat. At one point, while navigating a particularly tight gas station, he managed to wedge the trailer between two pumps. It took two very kind and very strong truck drivers to help him dislodge it. His cheeks burned with shame, but the truckers just laughed and clapped him on the back. "Don't worry, son," one of them said. "We've all been there." As he finally pulled back onto the open road, Bruce realized that his mishaps were just part of the journey. They were opportunities to learn, to laugh, to connect with people. And maybe, just maybe, they made for a good story. He set up shop in a small town nestled amidst rolling hills. The air was fresh, the sky a brilliant blue. Bruce took a deep breath, savoring the peace and quiet. He parked his trailer in a prime spot near the town square, the smell of sizzling onions and grilling meat soon wafting through the air. People were initially hesitant, eyeing the rusty trailer with suspicion. But Bruce won them over with his friendly smile and his even friendlier prices. His burgers, made with fresh local ingredients and a hefty dose of passion, were a hit. Word spread quickly about the city fella with the killer burgers. Bruce worked long hours, but he didn't mind. He found joy in the rhythm of the work, in the satisfaction of creating something delicious. He loved the conversations he had with his customers, the stories they shared. He was no longer just a cook. He was a part of the community. Life on the road wasn't always easy. There were days when the weather was unforgiving, when the engines sputtered ominously, when the loneliness was a palpable weight. There were times when doubt crept in, whispering insidious thoughts of failure and regret. But Bruce learned to weather the storms, both literal and figurative. He discovered a resilience he never knew he possessed. He found solace in the kindness of strangers, in the beauty of the world around him, in the simple pleasures of a life lived on his own terms. He learned to embrace the unknown, to find joy in the journey, not just the destination. He learned that sometimes, the greatest adventures are the ones we least expect. One particularly challenging day, Bruce's old food trailer finally gave up the ghost. The engine sputtered and died, leaving him stranded on the side of a dusty road, miles from the nearest town. He felt a wave of despair wash over him. He was tired, hungry, and utterly defeated. Just when he was about to give in to despair, a beat-up pickup truck pulled over in front of him. A weathered-looking rancher, his face etched with the lines of a life lived outdoors, emerged from the truck. "Looks like you could use a hand," the rancher said gruffly, a twinkle in his eye. The rancher, whose name was Hank, towed Bruce's trailer back to his ranch. He fed Bruce a hearty meal of steak and potatoes, refusing any payment. Over steaming mugs of coffee, Bruce shared his story, his dreams, and his fears. Hank listened patiently, nodding and understanding. With Hank's help, Bruce was able to get his trailer repaired. It was a challenging task, but together they managed to fix it. It wasn't fancy, but it ran, and that was all that mattered. The trailer was now ready to take on new adventures. As he said goodbye to Hank, his heart filled with gratitude, knowing that he had made a true friend. Bruce realized that he wasn't alone. He had a support system, people who cared about him. There were good people everywhere, people who were willing to help without expecting anything in return, people willing to lend a helping hand, offering their time and effort to make a difference, people who believed in the power of dreams and the strength of community. He hit the road again, his heart lighter than it had been in years. The open road called to him, promising new experiences. The future stretched before him, uncertain but full of possibilities. Each mile brought new opportunities. He didn't know where the road would take him next, but he was no longer afraid. He embraced the unknown. He had found his purpose, his passion, and his freedom. The journey itself had become his destination, and as he drove, the setting sun painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and purple, he felt a sense of peace. Bruce allowed himself to dream. He dreamed of endless possibilities and the adventures that awaited him. He dreamed of a future seasoned with adventure and spiced with the unexpected. Every turn of the road held a new surprise. He dreamed of a life filled with good food, shared laughter, and the open road. Moments of joy and camaraderie. He dreamed of a life well lived, one burger at a time, a life where every meal was a celebration.